Subscribe, like, and hit the notification bell for another episode of us. Some stories are not meant to be forgotten. This is another episode of us. There was a message Angela Ellie Cruz never sent. It stayed unwritten for years, hidden somewhere between memory and silence. Waiting for a moment that never truly came.
May pag-asa pa ba?
3 words. I miss you.
Larawan mo ba'y
Angela Ellie Cruz was not the kind of woman who chased after things that were already living. She had learned long before love found her that holding on too tightly only made the loss more painful. So she became someone composed, someone steady, someone who could smile even when things didn't go her way.
sa hirap at ginawa?
She lived a quiet life, not empty, not lonely, just peaceful. The kind of life where mornings felt gentle and nights were meant for rest, not overthinking. And then, one day, without warning or intention, Kyle Suarez entered that quiet life.
Damdamin mo tila'y nabago.
Kyle Suarez was the kind of man who didn't try too hard, yet somehow managed to stay. He was easy to talk to, comfortable, familiar in a way that didn't make sense at first. Conversations with him never felt forced. Silence with him never felt awkward. It started simply. A conversation that lasted longer than expected. A laugh that came too naturally. A feeling that grew without permission.
Di na tulad ng dati.
Angela didn't notice when it began to change. One day, Kyle was just someone she talked to. The next, he became someone she looked for. Their connection didn't rush into something dramatic. There were no grand confessions at the beginning, no overwhelming declarations, just time and consistency.
May alaala na lang kung
Kyle became part of her routine. Good morning messages, random check-ins during the day, late night conversations that stretched into early mornings. And Angela, who once found comfort in solitude, slowly found comfort in him instead. She didn't fall quickly. She fell carefully. But she fell completely.
na larawan mo ba'y
Kyle, in his own way, cared. He showed up. He listened. He made her feel like she mattered. But there are people who know how to stay. And people who only know how to stay for a while.
alaala na lang kung susuko ka na?
Kyle didn't leave suddenly. He didn't disappear overnight. He faded. The messages became less frequent. The replies became shorter. The warmth in his words slowly turned into something distant, something careful. Angela noticed everything, not because she was looking for problems, but because when someone becomes part of your daily life, even the smallest changes feel loud. She told herself she was overthinking.
She told herself he was just busy. She told herself not to ruin something good with unnecessary doubts. But deep down, she knew. There's a certain kind of silence that speaks louder than any explanation. And Kyle had already started speaking through it. When the truth finally came, it wasn't loud. It didn't come with anger or conflict. It came quietly, almost gently. He told her things weren't the same anymore, that something had changed, that he couldn't give her what she deserved, and maybe, in some ways, that was true. But what hurt wasn't just the words. It was the realization that while she was building something real, he was already preparing to leave it behind. Angela didn't argue. She didn't ask him to stay, because love, to her, was never meant to feel like a negotiation. So she let him go.
Nang lumiban, makasakali na.
Not because she wanted to, but because she knew she had to. The days that followed were quiet, not peaceful, just quiet. The kind of quiet that feels heavier than noise. Kyle's absence didn't leave a visible gap in her life, but it left something deeper, a space where his presence used to exist. And that space didn't disappear overnight. Time moved forward, as it always does. Angela slowly rebuilt her routine. She stopped checking her phone as often, stopped rereading old messages, stopped expecting something that was no longer coming. She learned how to live without him. But learning to live without someone doesn't always mean forgetting them. There were still moments, unexpected ones. A song that reminded her of him, a place they once talked about, a random thought in the middle of a quiet night. And every time those moments came, she didn't fight them, she just let them pass. Because some memories don't need to be erased, they just need to be understood.
May nagsama, damdamin mo.
Years went by. Angela Ellie Cruz became someone different, stronger, more grounded, more aware of the kind of love she deserved. She no longer looked for someone to complete her. She had already learned how to stand on her own. And yet, there were nights that still felt unfamiliar. Not because she missed the pain, but because she remembered the feeling of being loved by someone she once chose with her whole heart. And on one of those nights, without any special reason, she found herself holding her phone again. She didn't plan it, didn't think it through. She just searched his name, Kyle Suarez. It was still there, like a door that had never fully closed, just left untouched. Her fingers hesitated for a moment, not out of fear, but out of understanding. Then slowly, she typed, "I miss you." The words appeared on the screen, simple, honest, unfiltered. She stared at them, not with hope, not with expectation, just truth. Because despite everything that had happened, a part of her still did. She read the message again and again. Her thumb hovered over the send button. For a brief moment, the past felt close enough to reach again. Close enough to return to. But then, she stopped. Not because she was unsure, but because she finally understood something she didn't before. Missing someone doesn't mean they belong in your present. Loving someone doesn't mean they are meant to stay. And healing means choosing yourself, even when it's harder than going back. Angela took a deep breath and slowly she deleted the message. One word at a time. I miss you. Gone. The screen was empty again, but this time it didn't feel like loss. It felt like closure. Not the kind someone gives you, but the kind you give yourself. She placed her phone down gently. And for the first time in a long while, the silence didn't feel heavy. It felt peaceful because she no longer needed to be heard by him. She had already understood her own heart, and somewhere far from her world, Kyle Suarez paused for no reason at all. As if something unspoken, something invisible, had finally let go of him. Some love stories are not meant to be rewritten. Some are meant to be remembered quietly, gratefully, and without regret. And sometimes, the most powerful thing a person can do is to feel everything and still choose not to send the message.
The end. Thank you so much for listening. See you on the next episode of Us every Sunday, 9 p.m. Good night!
May pag